Hello, EverCurious explorers, welcome back to the channel. Today we dive deep into one of history's most tantalizing mysteries, the Lost City of Atlantis. Is it a remnant of an advanced ancient civilization that sank beneath the waves?
EverCurious, learn what you love.
Or is it simply a clever allegory invented by a philosopher? Over the next 10 minutes, we'll examine the legend, the evidence, the theories, and ask, is Atlantis history or hoax? Let's start by going back in time to classical Greece where this myth began. The primary source for Atlantis is Plato, in two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. In Timaeus, Plato relates how Egyptian priests told Solon, the Athenian lawgiver, about an island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we today consider the Strait of Gibraltar. That island, Atlantis, was said to be larger than Libya and Asia Minor combined, wealthy and powerful. Then in Critias, Plato gives more details. Geography, a concentric ring design of the city, rings of water and land, temples, canals, and a story of moral decay, warfare, and eventual destruction by cataclysmic natural events. Many scholars believe Plato's intent was more philosophical and allegorical than literal. So what exactly did Plato describe? Here are the key points. Atlantis was a utopian island nation, blessed by gods, rich in resources, with advanced architecture and technology. Its layout: concentric rings of land and sea, canals connecting them, dams, bridges, harbors, and a grand central palace. Atlantis' rulers became arrogant and expansionist, waging war across the Mediterranean. Because of their moral decline, the gods, or natural cataclysms, punished them. In a single day and night, earthquakes and floods destroyed and swallowed the island. Importantly, no other ancient writer before or contemporaneous with Plato records Atlantis. That uniqueness has raised doubts. Given Plato is the only source, most historians are skeptical. Here are main objections. 1. Lack of corroborating ancient records. No independent source mentions Atlantis outside Plato. 2. Geological impossibility. Plate tectonic science shows that a landmass of that scale cannot simply sink whole into the ocean, especially in the way Plato describes. 3. No physical traces discovered. Despite modern ocean exploration and seabed mapping, no definitive Atlantis ruins have been found. 4. Allegorical interpretation. Many scholars view Atlantis as a moral or political allegory, Plato's device to illustrate hubris, virtue, and downfall. So, the consensus among mainstream historians is that Atlantis is mythical, not historical. Despite skepticism, many theories propose real-world parallels. Let's explore a few of them. Minoan, Santorini, Thera theory, perhaps the most serious candidate. Around 1600 BCE, the volcanic eruption of Thera, Santorini, triggered tsunamis that devastated nearby Crete, home of the Minoan civilization. Some scholars believe Plato might have drawn on such a disaster as inspiration. Black Sea flood hypothesis. Some suggest that a massive flooding event of the Black Sea, approximately 5600 BCE, might be the real-world kernel for flood legends which later became Atlantis stories. Other proposed sites. Some speculations place Atlantis in the Atlantic, Azores, Spain, off the coast of North Africa, Antarctica, or even in the Caribbean. Pseudo-historical or mystical proposals. Writers like Charles Berlitz proposed exotic versions, for example nuclear warfare or links with paranormal phenomena, though these are widely discredited by scholars. While these theories are imaginative and sometimes supported by tantalizing hints, none has achieved convincing, rigorous acceptance in academia. Even though Atlantis is often dismissed, there are reasons the myth has enduring power. Let's look at what gives it some credibility. The vividness and detail of Plato's narrative, concentric rings, canals, palaces, makes it more memorable and realistic than many myths. The possible echoes of real disasters, volcanic eruptions, floods, tectonic shifts, exist in Earth's history, so human cultures do have real catastrophes in their memory. Psychological appeal. Humans love lost worlds, utopias destroyed by hubris. Atlantis offers both mystery and moral lessons. Speculative hints. Occasional claims of underwater structures or anomalies sometimes attract attention, though most are later explained geologically. These strengths don't prove Atlantis existed, but they help explain why the myth continues to fascinate. Now let's scrutinize the problems. Single source dependency. Everything rests on Plato's texts. No corroboration from Egyptian, Greek, Roman, or any ancient literature beyond him. Scientific and geological contradictions. Geological models do not support a sudden massive submergence of a landmass in the way the story suggests. Absence of archaeological evidence. Despite centuries of exploration, deep-sea scanning, sonar, submersible missions, no credible Atlantis ruins have been confirmed. Chronological mismatch. Plato places Atlantis' destruction 9,000 years before Solon, which would correspond to approximately 9600 BCE. That date is far older than most known advanced civilizations and conflicts with archaeological timelines. Allegorical reading favored by scholars. Many interpret Plato's story not as a report, but as a philosophical allegory or literary device. Given these gaps, the hoax side has strong footing. Over the centuries, adventurers and thrill seekers have claimed various discoveries of Atlantis. Let's look at some. In Spain, some researchers using satellite and radar data have claimed to locate Atlantis under marshes near Cadiz, but these remain speculative and controversial. Underwater pyramid or structure claims, like the Yonaguni Monument off Japan, are sometimes tied by enthusiasts to lost civilizations, but mainstream geologists see them as natural formations. The Guardian criticized certain modern TV or documentary claims, for example by Graham Hancock, for mixing myth, sensationalism, and unsupported speculation about comet impacts or suppressed evidence. Some discoveries intrigue, but none to date have been accepted by mainstream archaeology as definitive evidence of Atlantis. These episodes make for gripping headlines, but they don't resolve the core question. Let's see where the academic consensus lies. Most historians regard Atlantis as a myth or allegory invented, or at least shaped by Plato, not a lost historical empire. As LiveScience puts it, the most obvious sign that Atlantis is a myth is that no trace of it has ever been found. Geology is clear. There could have been no large land surface that then sank where Plato places Atlantis. Scholarly articles analyze how the Atlantis myth has been shrouded in mystery through history, and many early interpreters misread or over-literalize Plato. Some scholars propose that Plato's Atlantis story was a literary tool within his political philosophy, for example contrasting Athens' virtue with Atlantis' decline, rather than a real history. In short, academia overwhelmingly leans toward myth plus allegory, not historical fact. Why does Atlantis continue to grip imaginations, even with little solid evidence? Here are a few reasons. Romantic appeal. A lost paradise, technology beyond its time, tragic downfall, it's irresistible material for fiction, movies, TV, novels. Conspiracy and alternative history culture. Some groups propose suppressed knowledge, cover-ups, or advanced ancient civilizations, for example Graham Hancock. Desire for mystery. Humans love unresolved puzzles. A vanished utopia under the sea is a powerful hook. Adaptability of the myth. The legend can be placed anywhere, Atlantic, Mediterranean, Antarctica, etc., so new claims can always be mapped onto it. Because the legend is so flexible, it keeps evolving with new fantasy and speculation. So history or hoax? My personal take, and what the evidence suggests, is Atlantis is best understood as a myth, possibly rooted in real memories of natural disasters, but not a real sunken super-civilization. Here's the argument. The only detailed source is Plato, likely using the tale allegorically. Geological and archaeological evidence doesn't support a true Atlantis as described. Plausible real disasters, for example Thera eruption, might have inspired parts of the myth. Modern claims are speculative and don't overturn the lack of hard evidence. Therefore, I lean toward hoax myth with kernels of inspiration from real events, not a literal lost supercity. And that's a wrap on our dive into the Lost City of Atlantis. Was it history? Probably not, at least not in the way legends imagine. But was it a powerful myth built on echoes of real catastrophes and human storytelling? Very likely. If you enjoyed this journey with myth, mystery, science, and skepticism, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss future explorations with EverCurious. Let me know in the comments. Do you believe Atlantis was real? Or is it a beautiful story that warns humanity about its own hubris? Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.